I was mad and threatened to leave my husband for another guy. I FAFO. My husband was not playing with. I'm sitting on the balcony of our penthouse apartment, sipping my third glass of wine and watching the city lights flicker below. The evening breeze feels good against my skin, carrying away the remnants of another argument with Mason. My phone screen glows with unread messages from Elliot, a guy from my office who's been more than friendly lately. I scroll through his texts, feeling a flutter of excitement I haven't experienced with Mason in months. I think, why am I stuck with someone who doesn't understand me when there are men like Elliot who actually make me feel alive? My thumb hovers over Elliot's latest message. Dinner tomorrow? Just as friends, unless you want more. Behind me, the sliding glass door opens. I don't bother looking up. I know it's Mason trying to make peace again. Probably with that wounded look in his eyes that used to melt my heart but now just irritates me. Vanessa, he says, his voice steady. Can we talk about what happened earlier? I roll my eyes dramatically, making sure he notices. What's there to talk about? You embarrassed me in front of my coworkers by leaving the party early, again. I had an early meeting. You always have an excuse, I snap, cutting him off. I take another sip of wine, feeling righteous indignation burn through me. Elliot would never bail on me like that. Mason goes still. I can feel the shift in the atmosphere immediately, like the air before a storm. Elliot? Mason's voice is quiet, too quiet. I turn to face him, a strange recklessness taking over. Maybe it's the wine, maybe it's the months of festering resentment, but I want to hurt him. I want him to feel as unsatisfied as I do. Yes, Elliot, my colleague, the one who actually listens when I talk. The one who doesn't make me feel like I'm just another item on his to-do list. Mason's face changes. The hurt I expected is there, but something else too, a coldness I've never seen before. He doesn't raise his voice when he speaks. Instead, he leans against the doorframe, studying me like I'm a stranger. How long has this been going on? I laugh, the sound sharp in the night air. Nothing's going on. But maybe it should. Maybe I need someone who actually makes me feel special. I watch his eyes carefully, waiting for him to plead, to apologize, to promise he'll try harder. That's how our fights usually end, with Mason backing down and me feeling vindicated. Instead, he simply nods. I see. He turns to go back inside, and I feel a flash of panic. This isn't how it's supposed to go. That's it? That's all you have to say? I call after him. Mason pauses in the doorway. What do you want me to say, Vanessa? That I'll compete for my own wife's attention? I'm not gonna do that. Maybe you should. I'm standing now, wine sloshing dangerously in my glass. Maybe you need to realize I have options. The words hang in the air between us. I've never said anything like that before, never been so explicit about my dissatisfaction. A small part of me is horrified, but another part feels powerful. I think, finally, he'll understand he can't take me for granted. Mason looks at me for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he simply says, I have an early morning. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. Before I can respond, he's gone, leaving me alone on the balcony with my wine and my anger. I stare at the space where he stood, oddly unsettled by his calm reaction. I was expecting a fight, tears, promises, not this quiet dignity. I grab my phone and text Elliot back. Dinner sounds perfect. The next morning, I'm standing in our walk-in closet, trying to decide what to wear for my dinner with Elliot. Mason has already left for work. I heard the front door close while I was still pretending to be asleep. No goodbye, no kiss on the forehead like usual. I tell myself I don't care. The closet feels emptier somehow. I frown, scanning the racks. Several of Mason's suits are missing, along with his weekend clothes. I check his dresser. Half the drawers are empty. My stomach drops. I think he wouldn't actually leave over one stupid fight, would he? I grab my phone and call him, but it goes straight to voicemail. I text, "Where are your clothes?" No response. At work, I'm sitting at my desk, unable to focus on the spreadsheet in front of me. Elliot stops by, leaning casually against my cubicle wall. Looking forward to tonight, he says with a smile that would normally make my day. Today it barely registers. Actually, Elliot, I hesitate, guilt and uncertainty swirling in my stomach. I need to cancel. Something's come up with Mason. Elliot's smile falters. Everything okay? I'm not sure, I admit. I need to figure some things out. He nods, looking disappointed but understanding. Another time, then. After he leaves, I try calling Mason again. Still voicemail. I send another text. Can we talk? Please call me. By the time I leave work, I'm a bundle of nerves. I'm driving toward our apartment building, fingers drumming anxiously on the steering wheel when my phone rings. I grab it eagerly, but it's not Mason, it's Jenna, my best friend. Hey, I answer, trying to hide my disappointment. Vanessa. Jenna's voice sounds strange. I just saw Mason. I pull over to the side of the road. Where? Is he okay? He was at Riverside Plaza, moving boxes into a new apartment. I feel like I've been punched in the stomach. What? He's moving out? Just like that? What happened between you two? Jenna asks. I can hear the judgment in her tone. We had a fight. It wasn't even that serious. But even as I say it, I know it's not true. I crossed a line last night, and somewhere deep down, I knew exactly what I was doing. He looked. Jenna pauses. Different. Determined. When I asked if you two were okay, he just said sometimes people show you who they really are, and you have to believe them. I hang up soon after, feeling sick. This isn't how it was supposed to go. Mason was supposed to fight for me, not walk away. He was supposed to realize he needed to try harder, not decide I wasn't worth the effort anymore. I drive to Riverside Plaza in a daze. It's a sleek new complex overlooking the river, nicer than our current place, actually. I spot Mason's car in the parking lot and feel a surge of both relief and anger. I park beside it and march toward the building entrance. The security guard stops me. Can I help you, ma'am? I'm here to see Mason Collins, I say, attempting to push past him. Name? Vanessa Collins. I'm his wife. The guard checks his tablet, then shakes his head. Sorry, you're not on the approved visitor list. I stare at him in disbelief. I'm his wife. Ma'am, I need to ask you to leave if you don't have authorization to enter. I stand there, humiliation washing over me. Mason has blocked me from even entering his building. This isn't the man I married, the one who always forgave, always tried to make peace. I think, what have I done? 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in my lawyer's office, staring at the divorce papers Mason has filed. The room feels too small, the air too thin. He's offering a very generous settlement, my lawyer says, sounding impressed. The apartment, half of the savings, even alimony for a year to help you transition. I barely hear her. All I can focus on is the clinical language describing the end of our 5-year marriage. Irreconcilable differences, breakdown of marital relations. Did he give any specifics about why? I ask, my voice small. My lawyer looks uncomfortable. The filing just states that trust has been irreparably broken. There's no mention of third parties or anything that would reflect poorly on either of you. Even now, Mason is being decent. It makes me feel worse. I haven't actually seen him since that night on the balcony. All communication has been through lawyers or text messages about practical matters. He's changed his phone number, blocked me on social media, and apparently told our mutual friends he doesn't want to discuss me. Jenna is the only one still firmly in my corner, though even she has been uncharacteristically blunt about my role in this mess. You threatened to cheat on him, Van, she said during our last lunch, with a specific guy you'd clearly been talking to behind his back. What did you expect? I leave the lawyer's office in a daze, papers signed. It's a perfect autumn day. Golden sunlight filtering through colorful leaves, the kind of day Mason and I would have spent hiking at Blackwater Ridge. I decide to go there now, needing the comfort of a familiar place. The trail is busy with weekend hikers, couples holding hands, families with children running ahead on the path. I feel achingly alone among them. At the summit overlook, I'm standing at the railing, gazing out at the valley below when I hear a familiar laugh. I turn, and there he is, Mason. Not 20 feet away. He looks good, better than good. He's trimmed his beard the way I always preferred, but he rarely bothered with. His clothes are new, the stylish kind I used to hint he should wear. But it's more than that. He looks lighter somehow, unburdened. He's not alone. A woman stands beside him, petite with curly hair, casually dressed in hiking gear. She's not strikingly beautiful or notably younger than me, just normal, with a genuine smile as she says something that makes Mason laugh again. I think, this can't be happening. It's only been 2 weeks. Before I can decide whether to approach or hide, Mason spots me. His smile fades, replaced by a guarded expression I've never seen directed at me before. He says something to his companion, who glances my way with curiosity. I feel frozen, unable to move as they approach. Mason looks me directly in the eyes, no warmth, no anger, just calm acknowledgement. "Vanessa," he says with a small nod. "This is Rachel, my hiking guide." Rachel extends her hand, smiling politely. "Nice to meet you." I shake her hand automatically, feeling surreal. "You're a hiking guide?" "Part-time," she explains. "I'm actually an environmental lawyer, but I lead weekend hikes for the Conservation Society." Mason never showed interest in my suggestions to go hiking with a group or join any kind of society. I think he's becoming the man I always wanted, just not for me. "How are you?" Mason asks, his tone courteous but distant, like he's talking to an acquaintance. "I saw the lawyer today," I say, ignoring his question. "You're really going through with this?" A flash of genuine emotion crosses his face. Not regret, but something like disappointment. "What did you expect, Vanessa? That I'd just accept being your backup option?" Rachel touches his arm gently. "I'll give you two a moment," she says, moving discreetly away. Once she's gone, I search Mason's face for any sign of the man who used to look at me with adoration. "It was one fight, Mason. One stupid fight, and you throw away 5 years of marriage?" "It wasn't just a fight." His voice is quiet but firm. "It was a revelation. You made it very clear that I wasn't enough for you, that I was something to be settled for until a better option came along." I was angry. People say things they don't mean when they're angry. Mason shakes his head. "No, Vanessa, people say exactly what they mean when they're angry. They just normally hide it better." I feel tears welling up. "So that's it? No counseling? No trying to work things out? You just decided I'm not worth fighting for?" For the first time, a hint of anger flashes in his eyes. "I spent years fighting for us. Years trying to be good enough to make you happy, all while you were lining up my replacement. At some point, self-respect has to matter." Rachel glances over, clearly trying not to hover but staying attentive to Mason's needs. The contrast between her consideration and my ultimatum that night is stark. "Is she your girlfriend?" I ask, unable to keep the bitterness from my voice. "No," Mason says simply. "She's a friend who respects me, something I've discovered I value quite highly." He steps back, creating physical distance to match the emotional gulf between us. "I should go. Take care of yourself, Vanessa." I watch him walk away, rejoining Rachel with a genuine smile that used to be reserved for me. They continue down the trail, not quite touching but clearly comfortable together. I stand alone at the overlook, the beautiful view blurred by my tears. I think, I did this. I broke something that can't be fixed. 4 months later, I'm walking through Northcrest Park, bundled against the winter chill. The divorce is final now, the legalities settled. I've moved to a smaller apartment across town, unwilling to stay in the space filled with memories of us. The park is quiet on this weekday afternoon, just a few joggers and people walking dogs. I come here often now, finding solace in the open space and fresh air. I'm passing the lake when I spot them, Mason and Rachel, sitting on a bench, feeding ducks. They're clearly together now. I can tell by the way he has his arm around her shoulders, the easy intimacy of their posture. I duck behind a tree, not ready to be seen. From my hiding place, I watch as Mason says something that makes Rachel laugh. He looks at her the way he used to look at me, with warmth and tenderness and a hint of awe. But there's something else too. Something I don't remember seeing before. Respect. Equal partners, neither one diminishing the other. I think about texting Elliot after that fight, how quickly I'd been willing to risk my marriage for a fleeting ego boost. Elliot, who lost interest the moment I became emotionally complicated. Who I later learned had a reputation for pursuing unavailable women. Mason spots me before I can retreat. Our eyes meet across the distance. This time there's no animosity in his gaze, just a kind of settled peace. He lifts his hand in a small wave of acknowledgement. I wave back, then turn and walk away, leaving them to their afternoon. My phone buzzes in my pocket, a text from Jenna asking if I want to join her for coffee. I text back on my way and head toward the park exit. As I reach the street, I pass a young couple arguing on a bench. The woman's voice carries, sharp with frustration. "You never make time for me anymore. Sometimes I wonder why I'm even with you." The man looks stricken, falling silent as she continues her tirade. I pause, remembering myself on that balcony, wine in hand, cruel words on my tongue. For a moment, I consider warning her about where this path leads, about how quickly certainty can become regret. Instead, I walk on. Some lessons have to be learned through experience, through loss. Mine certainly was. I'm standing at the crosswalk, waiting for the light to change, when I realize I'm no longer angry at Mason for leaving. I'm grateful he had the strength to do what I couldn't, to recognize when something was broken beyond repair, and to move forward with dignity. The light turns green. I cross the street toward my new life, carrying the weight of my mistakes, but also the wisdom they've granted me. I think, next time, if there is a next time, I'll remember the look on his face that night. I'll remember what it costs when you treat love like a weapon instead of a gift. The coffee shop comes into view, Jenna visible through the window. She waves when she sees me, gesturing to a waiting cup of coffee. A small kindness, a reminder that not everything is lost. I push open the door, stepping into the warmth, ready to face whatever comes next. 18 months after that night on the balcony, I'm standing in line at the farmer's market, shopping for ingredients for a dinner I'm hosting for my new colleagues. The sun is bright overhead, the air filled with the scent of fresh produce and flowers. I've changed in these months alone. Learned to sit with my thoughts instead of distracting myself with drama. Learned to recognize my own patterns, the way I used to create conflicts just to feel something. The way I mistook Mason's stability for boredom. Vanessa? I turn at the sound of my name and find Mason standing there, a basket of vegetables in one hand. He looks relaxed, at ease in a way I don't remember from our marriage. Mason, I say, surprised by how steady my voice sounds. How are you? Good, he says, and I can tell it's true. Really good, actually. We step aside to let others pass in the narrow aisle between vendors. There's an awkward moment of silence before we both speak at once. How's Rachel? I got a new job. We laugh, the tension easing slightly. You first, Mason says. I took a position at Westridge Foundation, I tell him. Environmental advocacy. It's challenging but fulfilling in a way my corporate job never was. He nods, looking genuinely pleased for me. That's great. You always talked about wanting work with more purpose. I had, though I'd never done anything about it while we were together, too comfortable in my well-paying but soulless corporate role. And Rachel? I ask, proud of how the question contains no bitterness now. She's well, he says, a soft smile appearing. We're engaged, actually. I feel a pang, but it's not the jealousy I might have expected. It's something more complicated. Regret for what I lost, but also a genuine hope that he's found happiness. Congratulations, I say, meaning it. She seems like a good person. She is. He pauses, then adds, I am too, you know, a good person. The simple statement hits me hard, not accusatory, just a quiet assertion of his own worth, something he never did during our marriage. I know you are, I say softly. I didn't appreciate that enough when it mattered. Mason studies me for a moment, then nods, accepting the apology embedded in my words. You're not the only one who made mistakes, Vanessa. I should have spoken up sooner about the way I felt. Set boundaries. It's a generous sharing of blame that I don't deserve. But that was always Mason, fair to a fault, even when hurt. Are you seeing anyone? He asks after a moment. I shake my head. Not really. I've been on a few dates, but nothing serious. I'm trying to get comfortable with myself first, you know? That's wise, he says, and I can tell he means it. We're interrupted by a vendor calling out that it's Mason's turn to be served. He gestures that he'll be right there. I should go, he says. But it was good to see you, Vanessa. You too, I reply, surprised by how much I mean it. As he turns to leave, I find myself saying, Mason? He looks back. I'm sorry, I say simply. For that night, for a lot of things. Something in his expression softens. Not forgiveness exactly, but acknowledgement. I know. He rejoins the line and I continue on my way, a strange lightness in my chest. The conversation hasn't undone the past, but it's closed something that was left painfully open. I'm arranging my purchases in my canvas bag when my phone rings. It's Jenna, calling about tonight's dinner party. I'm bringing that new guy from my office, she says. The one I told you about? He just moved here from Seattle. That's fine, I say, smiling at her transparent matchmaking. But no pressure, okay? I'm in a good place right now. I know, she says. But he's really nice, Van, and he's read all those environmental books you're always talking about. I laugh, feeling a flutter of possibility that I haven't allowed myself in a long time. Okay, I'll try to be open-minded. As I walk to my car, I spot Mason and Rachel across the market, now holding hands as they shop. Rachel says something that makes Mason throw his head back in laughter. She watches him with clear affection, and he returns her gaze with equal warmth. I feel a bittersweet pang, not of jealousy, but of recognition. That's what love should look like: mutual respect, shared joy, equal partnership. I turn away, letting them have their moment unobserved. In my car, I check my reflection in the rearview mirror. The woman looking back at me is older, wiser, humbled by loss, but not broken by it. Second chances come in many forms, I think, as I drive toward home, toward the future I'm slowly rebuilding. Sometimes they're not about getting back what you lost, but about becoming someone who wouldn't lose it in the first place. The lesson was brutal, the cost high, but as I navigate through traffic, I feel something I haven't in a long time. Hope, not for reconciliation with Mason, that chapter is closed, but for the possibility that I've changed in ways that matter. Tonight, I'll host my first dinner party in my new place. Tomorrow, I'll tackle another project at my meaningful new job. And someday, maybe, I'll find love again, the kind based on mutual respect and appreciation, rather than power games and ultimatums. For now, though, I'm learning to be content with the person I'm becoming. Someone who values what's real over what's exciting. Who understands that love isn't a bargaining chip, but a gift to be treasured. I pull into my driveway, ready to prepare for the evening ahead, carrying my lessons with me like hard-won treasures.